Aha, it's the last weekend of July, and it's the next Posse Rundown. There were supposed to be 4 feature races for 410 action. There were only 3. And before we get to them, the big news that I want to mention, I think this is cool, is that the Heffner team has committed to going out to the Knoxville Nationals with their number 27 car, and they're going to take Darren Pittman. Like I said before, I think that car is not going to have Darren Pittman in it full time here in Central PA. If there had been a race at Williams Grove this weekend, I think there was a chance we could have seen who was going to get into that car, but we know what's going to happen to it in the future. They're going to take Darren Pittman, who's got a ton of experience with sprint cars, to Knoxville. So that's going to be exciting. We'll have a little bit extra representation of the PA Posse when that all goes down, and I plan on making a video kind of talking about what drivers are going to be there for the Knoxville Nationals this year. So we can start off the weekend on Friday, July 29th, and rain cancels Williams Grove. So there you go. I'll start next with the Living Legends Dream Race, which took place on the 30th, which is Saturday, at Port Royal Speedway. 26 cars showed up. There were twin 20 feature races for the night, so the 24 drivers who qualified for that raced in both of them. In race number 1, Lance DeWeese got a huge lead, and the track kind of aged, and there's not really a ton to talk about the race until you get to the end, when Dylan Cisney, local guy, started getting really good at running the very top side of the racetrack, which is where there was just a sliver left of tacky dirt, and he caught all the way back up to Lance, and on the last lap, in the last set of corners, he ran to the high side of the track, sweeped around the top, and was able to cut in and just barely avoid hitting Jeff Halligan, who was a lapped car, and held out the lead to steal it from Lance in that last stretch and win the first of the 2 twin 20s. The second race had Blaine Heimbach on the pole, which was cool, and he led for a while, but he got caught up to over time by Mike Walter, who never really made a committed pass that stayed there, and then Danny Dietrich, who at the ending stages of the race got very strong and was able to catch up, make passes, and get into the race lead. So in the first race, the top 10 was broken down as so, with Dylan Cisney, Lance DeWeese, and Danny Dietrich making up the top 3. And then following that is this group of 10, which is the second of the 2 races. Danny Dietrich, Lance DeWeese, and Blaine Heimbach got the podium in the second event of the night at Port Royal. And then we move on to Lincoln. Now, Lincoln this weekend was the Rack Daddies Rumble. So they had the 410s, they had 358s, they had some late models there. We're not worried about the late models. Heat race winners were Chase Dietz, Dylan Norris, Freddie Raymer, and Glendon Forsyth. And I say that just to mention this crash that happened in the heat races. Zane Rudisil put on airplane mode in turns 3 and 4. He was okay. The car was not, and that ended his night. And it was pretty spectacular to watch. Because of the way they handicapped, John Walp was starting at the front of the field, and he didn't lead very long before Glendon Forsyth took over, and then over time it ended up coming towards Chad Trout. Freddie Raymer and Chase Dietz were also very strong, and it seems like Freddie and Chase come together and race with each other. At least this summer it's been more common. So those two were fast, and they ended up catching up more to Chad Trout. They got close. They probably wouldn't have been able to catch him if it hadn't have been for a yellow that came out. At that point, Freddie Raymer had taken over second with Dietz in tow, and then off of the restart that went to the finish with 2 to go, Freddie was able to pass Chad Trout and take the victory that made his 4th of the season at the track. Chad Trout second, Chase Dietz third, and the rest of the top 10 is shown as so. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these rundowns. Next week we're going to see what we're doing. I want to try to start focusing on Knoxville and the Nationals because I think that's important. That's kind of like the biggest race in sprint car racing, so we'll have to just kind of sit tight and see what happens. But thank you for your support and for watching, and hopefully you guys enjoy the videos. If you like statistics and being a dork, there's dirtnerddata.weebly.com in the description. That place has a bunch of stats that I keep track of for sprint car racing, and I'll bid you farewell till next time.